بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم نحن نقص عليك نبأهم بالحق إنهم فتية آمنوا بربهم وزدناهم هدى.
Sayyidina, we have already discussed proofs of God's existence through the universe's cause, design, and morality. You also mentioned our consciousness and intelligence as further evidence. Some people argue that our intellect simply evolved as our brain developed from animal brains. Honestly, that seems far-fetched to me. Could you elaborate on this further?
That's a good question, Sajjad. Let's start with the first major issue. Scientists who rely solely on physical observations cannot prove that human evolution happened purely by blind chance, without any guidance or intervention from God. Why? Because no one has directly observed one species transforming into a completely new species, especially not an animal turning into a human. It supposedly took millions of years.
But one of my biology teachers said that evolution is clear from observing the fossils in the different layers of the Earth's crust. Isn't that enough to prove natural evolution?
Ask him if anyone has observed the process of evolution by natural selection. The evidence, such as fossils, shows some changes over time, but it doesn't prove that evolution occurred naturally. In fact, even renowned evolutionary scientists admit that the evidence is inconclusive. For example, the late paleontologist Stephen Jay Gould pointed out the extreme rarity of transitional forms in the fossil record, calling it the trade secret of paleontology. He said that family tree textbook diagrams rely only on data at the tips and branch points. The rest is suggestion, not the evidence of fossils. In simple terms, the supposed intermediate fossils, the missing links, are largely missing.
So you're saying there's a lack of solid evidence? It appears that evolution relies more on educated guesses rather than direct proof.
Exactly. Even Charles Darwin, who proposed the theory of evolution, was aware of this issue in his own time. He admitted that the fossil record was extremely imperfect and that anyone dismissing the explanations for missing evidence would rightly reject his whole theory. Today, the situation has not changed entirely. We still have gaps. The challenge becomes even greater when discussing human evolution from animals. There is no clear, continuous fossil chain linking us directly to a specific ape or another animal. What we have are fragmentary fossils and numerous interpretations lacking objective evidence or observations. As one modern scholar noted, the idea that humans evolved from something like a monkey remains on the level of theory without complete evidence. In other words, it is an unproven hypothesis.
I see. They have fossils of human-like creatures, but not a complete series showing one turning into another conclusively. So the theory isn't a done deal?
Precisely. There are gaps and missing links that evolutionary theory struggles to fill. Fossils can be interpreted in different ways, and they suggest change. Still, they don't definitively prove the emergence of humans through that blind evolution without any intelligent guidance or intervention. In fact, many experts have raised criticisms. Some scientists, including biologists and paleontologists, have written books and papers questioning Darwin's theory and highlighting its flaws.
Can I have an example of some scientists, please?
Certainly. For example, biochemist Michael Behe argues that specific complex biological systems could not have evolved step by step, irreducible complexity, and paleontologists like Gould and Niles Eldredge have highlighted that the fossil record does not show the gradual transitions Darwin expected. All this makes the theory of purely random evolution an incomplete and unproven explanation, especially for something as unique as human beings. If evolution did occur in some form, a logical person would ask, who or what guided it? Such an immensely complex process, leading from microbes all the way to conscious, intelligent humans, would almost certainly require an intelligent guide or designer. That someone can only be Allah the Exalted, the all-knowing creator, rather than blind chance. It is quite similar to how, when we see a complex invention, we assume an intelligent inventor rather than random accidents.
That makes sense. What about the claim that human intelligence simply evolved from animal brains as those brains increased in size?
That's the second big problem. The human mind and our level of intelligence are vastly different from anything seen in animals, and it's difficult for Darwinian evolution to explain this leap. Consider this. Even animals with a higher level of intelligence than others, such as dolphins or apes, mainly operate on fixed instincts and limited problem-solving related to survival. Things like finding food, escaping danger, or maintaining basic social structures. Their behaviors, no matter how clever, remain within a limited range. Humans, on the other hand, possess a free-thinking, reflective intellect. We explore art, morality, science, philosophy, and metaphysics. We ask, why am I here? What is the meaning of life? Questions no animal minds consider. We create symphonies, invent computers, write poetry, and worship God. This form of abstract, self-aware, moral, and creative thinking exists on an entirely different level. How can a purely material process gradually transform a simple animal brain into a mind capable of understanding quantum particles, the vast universe, and themselves?
Sayyidna, is there anything in the Quran indicating that Allah the Exalted created and designed the variety of species in plants, animals, and the human race?
Yes, Sajjad, the Quran speaks beautifully and repeatedly about how Allah the Exalted intentionally created a wide variety of living things. Therefore, if the theory of evolution is proven to occur in creatures other than humans, then logically it must be the intervention of the intelligent designer, because according to the Quran, Allah the Exalted caused the diversity in His creation. This diversity is not random, it is a sign of His wisdom, creative power, and design.
Is there any verse about Allah the Exalted creating the diversity in the plant kingdom?
The Quran mentions around 10 verses indicating that the diversity and variety in the plant kingdom are created by Allah the Exalted and are not a result of natural selection. For instance, in Surah Taha, the Quran states, He sent down water from the sky, and with it takrumits. We brought forth various kinds of vegetation. And the verse in Surah Al-An'am 699, where he says, It is He who sends down water from the sky and brings forth with it every kind of growing thing. In addition, in Surah Al-Hajr verse 1519, Allah the Exalted said, We grew in it with every kind of balanced thing. Finally, in Surah Yasin, Allah the Exalted clearly states that every kind of pair or variety in His creation is made and designed by Him, immaculate. He is the one who has created all kinds or pairs of what the earth grows, of themselves, and of what they do not yet know.
What about diversity in the animal kingdom in the Quran?
Certainly, the verse in Surah An-Nur 45 highlights that the diversity in animal forms and species is deliberately created, not the result of random evolution or natural accident. Allah the Exalted states, Allah creates what He wills. Allah created every animal from water. Among them are some that creep on their bellies, and among them are some that walk on 2 feet, and among them are some that walk on 4. Allah creates whatever He wills. Indeed, Allah has power over all things. Additionally, Allah the Exalted created diverse creatures living on the ground and in the heavens, such as the various types of birds in the skies. Therefore, He, the Exalted, states in Surah Ash-Shura, verse 42, verse 29, Among His signs is the creation of the heavens and the earth, and whatever creatures He has scattered in both of them. Likewise, Surah Fatir, verse 35-28, also indicates that Allah the Exalted caused variety in animals and humans.
What about the diversity in the creation of humankind?
In the first verse of Surah An-Nisa, 4 verse 1, the Quran clearly states that the origin of every human was a single created human and his spouse. From these two, mankind spread out. They did not evolve naturally from an animal. O mankind, be wary of your Lord who created you from a single soul, and created its mate from it, and from the two of them scattered numerous men and women. He also designed the genes to create diversity in the human race, as mentioned in Surah Al-Rum, 30 verse 22. And among His signs is the creation of the heavens and the earth, and the diversity of your tongues and colors. Surely there are signs for those who know. Similarly, Surat al-Hajarat 49:13 states, O mankind, we created you from a male and a female, and made you into nations and tribes so that you may know one another. Indeed, the most honored of you in the sight of Allah is the most righteous among you. These verses affirm that different races, tribes, and cultures are designed by Allah the Exalted, and that the purpose of this diversity is not to divide or discriminate, but to appreciate and recognize one another.
The variety in plants, animals, and humans was caused by Allah the Exalted. Whether it occurred gradually or instantly without His intelligent design, it can never happen solely through natural selection.
Unfortunately, I must leave for a class. We will continue our discussion on the consciousness and existence of God at our next meeting. Take care. Salam alaikum.
Thank you, Sayyidina. That was truly a valuable and enlightening session. May Almighty the Exalted reward you with the best. Salam alaikum.
وصلى الله على محمد وآله الطاهرين وسلم تسليما كثيرا وحسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل